What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be going over an interview recently done by The Flash's showrunner Eric Wallace that reveals some very interesting things about The Flash Season 9. Now guys, I will not be going over the entire interview, so if you'd like to read the rest of it, there's a link to it in the description. Make sure you guys go check it out. So anyways, guys, the first question I want to go over in this interview, Eric Wallace actually said a lot more information than he needed to, so I'm just going to read you guys a part of his answer to the question. The question itself is not really relevant here. So he says, I went back and looked at Season 1 with the staff for a rewatch, and we're like, hey, whatever happened to that? It got dropped. We need to pick that up. We need to check that box. So you'll see a lot of Easter eggs throughout the season that actually close the loop on a few things. You'll also see some very big hanging things from Season 1, no spoilers, that needed to get addresses and finally got addressed that I'm very happy about. I would go so far as to say that the closer we get to the series finale, the more you should rewatch Season 1, especially the second half. And following that, the Flash Podcast's next question is about how crucial episode 15 of Season 1 might be to that storyline, you know, that potential Season 9 to Season 1 connection. To which Eric Wallace responds, I would say that's not crucial simply because I consider Season 1 episode 15 to be perfect. I don't want to mess with that. I make no secrets, that's my favorite episode. It's always been. Of the first 3 years before I got here, that's my #1 favorite episode. I have a couple of episodes, but that's #1. Okay, he goes on to say that's his favorite episode for a while. Anyways, he continues to say, I would say 17 and onward is what I would start rewatching very specifically. That's a pretty big spoiler right there. It's the showrunner versus the fan. They fight each other sometimes. So yeah, guys, Eric Wallace saying that episodes 17 and on of Season 1 is what you should watch because it's apparently going to be connecting to Season 9 of The Flash somehow, which is going to be very interesting. Now, I have a couple of theories on what exactly could be connecting Season 1 and Season 9. The first one is that I think that Eric Wallace could be referencing a couple of things. The first one is the connection between Eddie and Eobard Thawne. They never really, I guess, went into that like super in depth. They did one episode where Eobard captured Eddie Thawne, and then, you know, they just talked about a little bit about their family and whatnot, but they never really went super in depth with that. I wish they kind of did that more, so maybe that's what they could be referring to there. Obviously, Matt Letcher's confirmed to return. So is Rick Cosnett as Eddie Thawne, most likely. So it'll be really interesting to see if that's one of the things he's referring to. The other thing that I'm really interested in, he said episode 17 and on. Episode 17 started with a flashback to the year 2000 of Reverse Flash and the Flash going back to that night that Barry's mother was murdered. And that episode was basically the closest we've ever gotten to a Reverse Flash origin story on the show. So I think he could be, you know, teasing that as well, that we're going to get a Reverse Flash origin story. I think that would be really cool to see. Now, obviously, if Eric Wallace is going to be referring to an Eobard and Eddie Thawne connection, what exactly could he mean by that? Now, obviously, Eddie Thawne killed himself in order to erase the Reverse Flash from existence. However, you know, Reverse Flash has just been showing up every season since then, so obviously Eddie killing himself didn't really work. Now, in Season 4, they explained it, I guess, kind of, or Season 2, they explained it, rather, and then after that, in Season 4 was the last time they explained it, and, you know, all Eobard Thawne said was quote-unquote time travel. That's the only reason he was alive. And they never really explained it since then of how he was alive. So my theory here is that they're going to show that Eobard Thawne time traveled and saved Eddie Thawne from dying. Obviously, maybe it's going to be that Season 2, Episode 11 version of Thawne who somehow realizes that, you know, he doesn't exist anymore in the future. So he goes to find out where he was erased from existence, and then ends up saving Eddie Thawne's life and then coming back in The Flash Season 9. I think that's definitely possible of a way to have Cobalt Blue, Eddie Thawne, and Eobard Thawne return in the same season. And if all that happens and the Season 2 Episode 11 version of Thawne does end up returning, they could still say that he hasn't yet killed Barry's mother, so then he and Barry could still go back to that night and all that stuff could all work out. They could have a full circle. But actually, that leads me into the next interview question from this article, and it's a little bit disappointing. So yeah, the question that the Flash Podcast asks is, speaking of happy endings, because we know that in the comics, Barry has not always had the most pleasant conclusions, a lot of people are under this theory that somehow Barry is going to still vanish, become the lightning bolt that strikes himself in 2013. Can you rule that out? To which Eric Wallace responds, I can tell you that's not happening because I didn't even know about that. That's interesting. No, that's not the ending. It will be a happy ending. We want people to be crying with tears of joy. It'll be a lot of tears and a lot of bittersweet memories and a lot of old faces, hopefully fingers crossed. So yeah guys, the Flash will not be vanishing and becoming the very lightning bolt that strikes himself in Season 1. We instead will be having a very happy ending, everybody. Now guys, even though that's a little bit disappointing for some of us, I wouldn't count everything out just yet. Obviously, they're going to connect a lot of things to Season 1, so I think it's possible that they could just say that Reverse Flash and the Flash will still go back to that night, but like, they could be a whole thing where Barry would survive, and he could like accept his mother's death and know that he has to save his younger self instead of save his mother, or something along those lines. I think could definitely be possible. So yeah, I wouldn't count it all out just yet, just because we've also had confirmation that they're going to connect a lot of stuff to Season 1. And lastly guys, just a couple of other things that I found really interesting in this interview. The first one is that Max Mercury is confirmed to not appear in the show. He would have been like a Season 10 thing. That's what Eric Wallace said. He would have been like a plan for Season 10. However, obviously the Flash did not get a Season 10. They're going to be ending after Season 9. So Max Mercury might be teased, but he will not be appearing in Season 9. Also, Wally's appearance in this season will apparently somehow be connected to his debut in Season 2, or like, his role in Season 2. So it's going to be really interesting to see exactly what that's about. Maybe he's just going to, be thinking about how far he's come since Season 2 or whatever. Something like that could definitely be possible. And yeah guys, there was a little bit more information about Oliver Queen that he was talking about, but he didn't really give any teasers. He didn't really say if this is going to be the Spectre, if this is going to be the Green Owl, or how he exactly is appearing. He didn't really say anything like that, but he did say that they're not going to change anything with Arrow, like Oliver's death, all that stuff. They're not going to be changing anything like that. So I don't know what it's going to be. I mean, time travel is definitely the best option. Maybe they're time traveling back to the Flash Season 6, obviously because of Bloodwork being there. So I think that's definitely possible, but yeah, who knows. Nonetheless, I'm just really excited to see Oliver Queen return. But anyways, I'd say that's about it, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure to comment your thoughts on this video down below, as well as your thoughts on, all this stuff that I went over in this video. What do you guys think that connection to Season 1 is going to be in Season 9? I'm really interested to see what that's going to be. I think it's going to have something to do with Reverse Flash, but yeah, make sure you guys comment all your thoughts on that down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.